and and then again with the intimate band, making sure that we're focused and making sure that we have that joy for God.
What? You didn't have to get through the entire thing.
I wasn't. I was talking about the first one still.
We also want to be able to so making sure you're able to perform in every sort of setting. So you're able to perform with a big band, whether you're a vocalist or an instrumentalist or both even, and also be able to like sing by yourself and be confident. But that also comes with time, always depending on the person. And another goal we want to have is always knowing your music when you come to rehearsal. Because it is the hardest thing when someone shows up not knowing music, because it's either we teach them, which spends an hour of our 2-hour rehearsal, or we have to pick an entirely new song, which also changes the balance of our sets. Because the sets we pick are pretty thought out. And so if we have something that happens where somebody doesn't know a song, it's kind of disappointing because it's like it kind of shifts the balance. And also being able to accommodate, which means change with different environments, kind of like going from a big band to an intimate setting, knowing how to change, like how you sing, how you interact with the other people on stage, and so just how to change with your environment and still sound good with that environment. And that also comes with different points in your musical journey.
Yes. So, okay. So on that, on those first ones, like I had said before, one thing that we want to start doing is getting better situations where people are being trained. So if you're not as strong on something, what we may do, like for keys, the first couple times we have you play keys, we're going to put effort into not having you be the only instrument and on stage. And like we said, overall, that's kind of a goal anyway, but because of the shortage of musicians, that won't always be possible. And so when it's not, we want to have some songs that are worked out specifically for that. Kind of like if you go to big church at all, they have certain weeks where they have bluegrass set and they have the guy bring the dobro and everything. They have things built around the band they have rather than going, well, let's figure out how to work a dobro into this song, and like, that's not going to work. You don't throw banjo in on well, I mean, you do on YouTube, but people are weird. So, so we want to do things like that. So, like, we would give you more of a synth sound rather than the harsh piano sound, because the piano, while it feels more familiar to people who've played piano, also it stands out if you play one wrong key, whereas a synth pad, you go, oh, nobody noticed. I thought you were making a transition note. It was great. It's like playing bass. Like, there it is. Best thing about bass. Right? Yeah. You're like, that was a step down on purpose. Yeah. That was a fill. Same with drums. You kind of like, it works. So, the other thing is vocalists. We have 1 million vocalists, and we got one more instrumentalist who also sings, but she's already been singing. But we added one instrument and 3 vocals just now. And we already have too many. So I want to start a couple of things. Like I said, one thing I want to do is start finding more songs that we can discern specific harmonies, and getting together with some of our worship coordinators and leaders who are really solid, who we can trust to sing really clean, on key, with minimal accompaniment. And I would like to start building have a couple of key songs we have that have your part sung out for you, so that if we say, hey, we need you to sing harmony on this. Here's the harmony. You know what I mean? And so we'll be able to do stuff like that. And that's going to take some work on my end to get that going, but that's a goal that I'd like to get out there. And then what they said about being able to change with the environment and stuff. If somebody starts playing the wrong song, or if somebody starts playing the wrong key, or something else, you guys have to do more than just know the words. Josh, you have to do more than just know the beat for each song. You guys have to be aware of what is going on in the song. This is not a recital. This is not school band where it doesn't really matter if you have any clue what the saxophone is playing. If you're in second trumpet really only gives a rip what first trumpet and third trumpet are doing, because they need to know where their part fits into those. And other than that, shove it. You know, like they don't care. And so in the same way, or in the opposite way, you guys all need to not just be like, oh, I've heard that song twice by the time you get here. Knowing your music does not mean I'm familiar with the melody and I know like 2/3 of the words. Knowing the music means I know this song and can sing it without looking at it. I can play it pretty much without looking at it or hearing it. I know what I should be doing, and I know what the song sounds like throughout. So as the drummer, you should be able to identify pretty well, here's that part of the song. Like they came in, whoa, they went to the bridge too early, and you can hear it, and you know what that sounds like. And you're like, whoa, that sounds totally different than what they were just doing. This is the bridge part. I know I'm supposed to be doing this here, or they're singing the bridge, and without having the lyrics right in front of you, you know where they've gone in the song, and you know what the song feels like right there. It's better, and you start reacting to your environment, and you start looking and you notice, whoa, dude, everybody in the room just like, I don't know what happened, the Holy Spirit just dropped a crazy like emotional bomb in the room, and every eye is wet, and people are dropping to their knees, and people are worshiping in a way that we've never seen before. I don't care how, you know, fancy the next song is or whatever else. We need to consider keeping things right where they are and giving people a chance to worship or whatever else. And being able to read what's happening and react to those kind of things, or give people a chance to get more into it before we hit that big point or whatever, you know, whatever things that is. And that comes through practice, but that comes also through ahead of time that your goal is not to sing the part to lead people in worship. You must be worshiping. That goes into our next thing here that we're going to cover. Stage presence. You don't need to be crazy like Freddie Mercury, who's the lead singer of Queen, or like I can't think of his name all of a sudden, the guy from the Rolling Stones, you don't need to be Miley Cyrus. You don't need to be. Never mind. Different time.
We don't understand.
No way. And so, let me show you this. So, when gittering, if the song is really, really difficult and I don't know it very well, like a Phil Wickham type of there's, you know, Divine Romance. We've played that a bunch of times, but like if I don't know how to do it and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm picking through it like that, like I might get to each. You know, like that's not going to work. And so if I'm or even if I'm so focused on that I can't participate in what's happening, And not that there's not room to grow, but like I want you guys to have practice, to be familiar, because what that does is when the song comes really easy, and like I can almost kind of pull off a conversation while I'm doing this. You know what I mean? And then not only is it Sedona can play this way better than me because she's a better guitarist than I. That's not the point. Point is, I'm familiar enough with what I can do on this to be able to do that. And so then when it comes time to, if I need to lead it, I'm not struggling through playing it and trying to figure that out and trying to sing also. I'm able to participate and engage in worship myself so that God can be glorified through what I'm offering, as well as other people can join and actually be led in worship. Because if you think about it, like if somebody says like, hey, lead me over there, you don't go, it's that way, do it. And I've seen worship leaders, well, they'll do that. They're like, hey, I'm playing this. Worship now. Come on. Do it. Do it. Just do it. Yeah, and it's like, seriously, like stop and yell at people. And it's like,
No.
they're not going anywhere because you're standing here yelling at them. If it's more passionate, if you're familiar with it and you just know it, and it's just the phone is up, your grace is here with me, and if you can just personally get into it and get that going with whatever you are, and so like even right there, like the drums wouldn't have come in yet, and so if Matt's sitting around waiting for his part, sorry, Josh. I'm changing your name to Matt. And there's a Matt Wallace who plays drums, so that makes it even harder. And his brother's name is Thomas, and I keep switching them too. And I'm sitting there at Axiom going Thomas, and he's like, I'm Matt. All right, anyway. Yeah, Thomas is his micro clone. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and then Dad. It's like, dude. I'm like, Ron, I know what you looked like when you were 14. But so like if you're sitting here and the song's going and it's all soft like that, and you're just like, Facebook, waiting. Gosh, it's like 3 choruses before I ever get to play the song. Nobody's into it. But if you're back there and your goal is not to play your part right, but your goal is to worship, and honestly, this discussion that we're having right here might be more important than anything else we could say to you. There's other stuff we need to tell you, and we will get to that in just a moment. But this discussion is something that is missed too much in worship and in our worship. Even sometimes when we have really great sets that I've watched things on stage that I'm like, oh, come on. Would you tell your face that you love Jesus? And then I listen to it, I'm like, that was really good. It stunk for the room. No, I mean, I'm just going to be blunt. It stunk during service, not because it sounded bad, but because there was a lack of engagement in somebody. And even if everybody else in the room was blessed, if somebody on stage isn't actually worshiping, then all they did was perform a music piece for everybody else who got into it. And there's some people who just play a piece and, like on piano, and they play some classical piece. And there are people who will listen to that and be touched and moved to tears, or joy or anger or rage or whatever. And I mean, music hits people emotionally, and you can't control that. But your main goal up there is for you to be engaged in a way that leads people through into worship. And so if he's sitting back and the song's going, but if he can stop and the richness of your beauty is all I see, and just like he's getting into it and worshiping himself, not only then does he, for him and God, begin to actually engage our Creator, which is what worship is for, but also then the music will be better, even if it has nothing to do with what he practiced. Because if he already knows the song and he's practiced well and he's familiar with what's supposed to happen in it, and he starts worshiping genuinely with his heart, those will come together on their own, and he will start playing what needs to happen in the song in reaction to what God is doing in his heart and in the hearts of those around him. Does that make sense? That's our goal. We're looking for that unity of the Spirit among the band. How many of you who've been on the band can say that that's what you experience every single time? I don't think I should see any hands up, except for Rachel, who's trying to ask a question.
No,
I know, you're trying to answer. Go ahead.
I think that something that I struggled with a lot when I first started on the worship team, like 3 years ago. That was a really long time ago.
Yes, you're so old.
Was I wasn't worshiping. I was performing. And so what you have to keep in mind is you're not on stage for your best friend or your brother or your sister or whoever. You're on stage because you're worshiping God. And that's your whole point. That's the whole point of you actually being on stage. And so remembering that you're not singing for the people out there. I mean, yes, you're leading them in worship, but really you're in your head, you shouldn't be thinking, oh, they're looking at me funny. Oh, they probably think I sang that wrong or whatever. They're actually not really paying attention to if you like accidentally like sing like one tiny note off key. I mean, yeah, they're gonna notice it, but that's not gonna like they're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, you didn't sing that right. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, they make mistakes. They're not perfect, just like me. So I think that remembering that you're singing you're singing for an audience of one. You're playing for an audience of one. It's not for you, it's for God. Yes. And I think that if someone had told me that when I was in 7th grade, I would have been so much better. I feel like that would have helped me so much. Mm-hmm. And so now that like you 3 are brand new to this, you've never done this. And so you being able to know that is actually a huge thing. Because if I could do anything, if I could go back, I would have told myself, hey, guess what? It's not for you. So I think I say that a lot, actually. Like in rehearsals, I'll be like, it's not for you, it's for God. And so it's definitely something that, I struggled with. And a lot of us struggle with is because, we think that we have to be perfect when we really don't. Mm-hmm. There's actually no perfect people allowed. So...
Sorry, that's good. We need to get through a little more of this. Okay, so expectations for people on the worship team, just to kind of recalibrate what that is for the couple of you that have already been here. When you are scheduled, there should be, when you are scheduled, we will use Planning Center. We will not use any other method. You must figure out a way to get on Planning Center. That is a deal breaker for you being on the worship team. If you can't use Planning Center, if you can't get regular access to the internet, if you cannot find a way to get the notification through text, email, Facebook, cloud of smoke, whatever it is, carrier pigeon, if you don't work out some method that you receive and respond to, and not just respond to, you can't just respond to the text or have your parents respond to the text and be like, oh yeah, they're free that weekend, that's fine. And then never check it again until you show up and go, so what are we doing? You can't do it. We need you to actually rehearse, as Josh Oot, Pastor Josh, our worship pastor here at the church, likes to say, you come to rehearsal here. That means you should have already rehearsed at home. You are rehearsing when you get there. So you are going back over things that you already know and combining the band together. And so that means even if you're not having your instrument with you at all times, vocalists, you always have your instrument with you. But if you're playing piano, if you're playing drums, the rest of you are singing, listen to the song a lot. Be really familiar with it. Be able to sing along with it while you're playing, but also just know the song. Hear the song. Get into like the crazy synth pad that's in the bridge or whatever it is. Like know all the weird parts that have nothing to do with your part, and just be excited and stoked on what those parts feel like, so that even if they come in and say he does a different beat, you're not going like, hey, no, it has to be exactly this crazy thing. I heard, I don't know what it is, but they do this a lot, I think, because it was fast. And like, it doesn't matter, but if the feel is right or if it works, if you know the song really well, it doesn't have to be exact to the CD. It can be a little more free in our version of it, and we will have a lot more of those because we don't have the bands or the capabilities to duplicate a lot of the real popular worship music. Has 2 or 3 piano synth things, and then an acoustic guitar or 5, and then several electric guitars and a bass with an effects pedal, and 15 vocalists who are all winners of American Idol and The Voice, and it's just like, okay, none of us are Taya from Hillsong, the girl who did Oceans and all that stuff, and like, she's ridiculous. But we've got people who are great in their own ways, and so we don't need to be that. So with that, Planning Center. You have to use Planning Center. You need to get on Planning Center. You need to check as soon as possible. If I send out if I schedule you, and you get the notification, and you respond, and then you check Planning Center, and you're like, hey, there's no songs posted. Feel free to say that right away. And send it back that day, and you're like, I'm scheduled in 6 weeks, and there are no songs posted yet. And I will be like, dang it, I hadn't got them up yet. You beat me to it. I will get them right up, check back tonight. Then check back tonight. And if you go on there and you're like, hey, so now you posted the songs, but one of them is just text and has no song. I can't practice this. Your solution is not go on YouTube and locate something random. That is not the right answer. Hit me up for it. Have your parents hit me up for it. Get the song from me, because there might be a different version we're doing. One case in point, Heart of Worship, the jazzy version we do that's like... You're not going to hear this on a recording. And I'm going to... Yeah. We wrote it. We rearranged the song completely as far as music goes, and so it sounds nothing like the Matt Redman version. I need to find a decent recording that we've done, or re-record one and put it up so that we've got a better version of it. But it changes the vocals, it changes everything else, it changes the way we do other songs that go into it, all that kind of thing. Quick question?
I don't have, there's no song for Good People.
Okay. I need that in... also, try not to tell me things on Sundays verbally. If you do, generally what I will say is, what I'm going to say now is, text or email me that. Respond to the Planning Center email or something again, and be like, if you respond to that email, it comes back to me. So if you just write a response and it says, hey, there's no MP3, I'll buy the song and put it on there.
I actually bought it.
Yes. We'll work that out. Yes, I'll show you. Okay. So yeah, if there's no MP3, let me know. Sometimes there might just be a Spotify link or a YouTube link. I'll try to find YouTube links. Not all the songs are always on YouTube, but I'll do that as much as I can too. And I'll try to get it in the right key. MP3s work best for us on Planning Center. There's an app for your smartphone that works with that. So again, Planning Center. If anything's not on there, let me know so we can get it on there. We will try to have the right key on there. We're working on getting everything into the right key for everybody. That's one thing that's been an issue, is like we have the wrong key for rehearsal, and then everybody knows something that doesn't work for one of the vocals or guitar or something. Quick question.
Actually, comment.
Yes.
There's not really technically besides the demo here, but the tech person needs to know the songs too, because
Yes.
when you're up there and you don't know the song, first of all, you can't put in the lyrics for the song, you don't know how the song goes.
Right.
Second of all, you don't know how the song is supposed to sound, so you don't. I'm tone deaf, but
No, but being familiar with what it
Yeah.
sounds like and stuff, and knowing the song and going, I don't know what they're playing right now. Is this a new song? What is? Oh, this is that one. Like, I've never heard this before. That should never come out of anyone's mouth on a weekend.
you don't follow this one. Text me at the hookers.
Yes. And-
oh my gosh.
Yeah, we need to have our text.
That drives me up the wall.
Well, and at
6.
Rise in the morning, and I have a big long list that I'm going to print and post in there of the student ministry. Yes. And so we will get that. Every single one of you who are on the worship team, I'll be getting the list of everyone that we have on the worship team and taking note of, I want everybody to follow or shadow in the tech booth at least twice so that they see what a whole service looks like from back there. So on a week when you're not scheduled for worship, we will schedule you for tech shadow, and we need you to do that because it's very helpful to see all that goes on back there. It gives you a lot more grace when you're working on sound check and everything else, and it gives you an idea of what actually needs to happen to pull off a service, and it's a lot. So we've got to move on to some other things. What? Yes.
With the shadow, they need to be there when a tech person gets there because time they come in, like 6 o'clock for action or whatever, everything's already done.
Right. So yes, and that will be something that we put out there, and we'll follow it. Okay. When you are scheduled, please be on time. At the most, I think we've been pretty good. We haven't gotten. Like the leaders have been there. The hard one is Rise. Rise is hard to get here. You're here at 8:30, but I'm here at 8:30, and I come from Gardnerville, and if I can make it, and I've got 2 kids, and I usually have Bella and Callie with me when I get here. If I can get my kids up and dressed and fed and out of bed and here with like clothing on and their hair, looks like it's halfway decent, then it doesn't look like rats live there, then you can manage to get here on time. Drag your parents out of bed and throw them at the car if you have to.
And if you're going to be
Also,
late,
wait, no, yeah, if you're going to be late, don't text me at 8:30 that you're going to be late. Text me at 8 that you're going to be late, or have your parents text me earlier. Not like, oh, I just woke up and it's 8:35. Like, okay, don't come. Bring headphones. Bring headphones, bring headphones, bring headphones. Every single time you play, bring headphones. You need to bring headphones. We need to start using the Avioms. It's going to make you sing better. It's going to make you play better. You're going to be able to hear everything. The drummers know because they've been able to get good monitor sounds because they're using headphones mostly. Bring headphones. Do not bring the headphones that come with a cell phone. The kind that have a microphone in them do not work with our system. They won't work. It will sound terrible if you get anything, and you can usually get it to, if you pull the cord partway out, you can get one channel to work halfway decent, but it's too quiet and the signal's messed up and it's not reliable. And just bring a pair of headphones. I bought a pair of $5 headphones on sale at Walmart. They work fine. They're not the best, but they work. I could hear things come through and they function. If you really want to go big and you want to invest in this for the future and you think you want to do this for a long, long time, buy a $100 set of Bose headphones that have a nice moldable ear thingy. But just go to Walmart, buy a $5 pair that doesn't have a microphone. Between the cord, just cord, and then it splits and just cord all the way. No extra bit for volume or any sending. Yeah, none of that stuff, because the tip is different when it returns a signal. And so the tip on these only goes one way. And so the places where the connections are made are in different spots than in like a phone or something. So that you need to be familiar with all the songs on the database. Make a binder. If you play the songs, do that. But know all the songs. Be familiar with all the songs. I don't want anybody to ever show up and be like, I've never heard that song. We've had it on a list on Spotify for 6 months. If you tried, you could have heard that song before. It's a long list, I'll admit. There's a lot of songs on the database right now. I need to clean it up a bit, but you need to know that.
But also, as a worship leader, we constantly listening to worship music, probably more arguably than any other Christian, because it's kind of your
Yeah, you should be
regular
listening to a lot of.
That's a problem.
That's a good point. You should be listening to a lot of worship music. Listening to a lot of worship music. Clean up after service. When you are scheduled, you have to stay here after service. You have to go back up on stage. Collect your music and take it home with you. It does not stay here. If it stays here, it usually gets thrown out. Please don't make us throw it out. Take it home with you. Keep it. Bring it back with you. If we've made any changes that I need to know about, remind me of that before you leave in some form of written communication. Whether that might mean leaving that sheet that's been edited and say, hey, Brian, don't forget, we need this. I can usually run a copy right after service so that I have it if we had to change the key or something, and then I can go put that in and mark down. I've got a few songs that are marked Rachel's key or Maddie's key because we've changed the key for them. But you need to clean up. That means going back and unplugging the cables that I showed you guys how to plug in today. It means going back and unplugging them, wrapping them up. We will show you how to wrap them up properly, hopefully tonight. If not, then next time. Yeah, you guys will. Yeah, we're getting there. And then worship alternatives. We have one. One minute. Hang on. Let me look at what else. Okay, on cleanup, and then we'll talk about worship alternatives until parents start stealing people away. Because that's the cleanup is actually a little more critical at this time to get with everybody. Cleanup, again, is not just putting away your microphone, but help us keep the stage nice. If you notice that there's something random like that gourd shaker that's over there, the little green squash thing, if that's just sitting out in the middle, put it back somewhere that makes sense, but put it back or ask me where it should go, and we'll find a place for it. Stuff like that. Make sure your Avion cable is wrapped up. We will show you how to use those. The Avions are the little blue things on the stands over there. They're just kind of random. They look almost like mini music stands, but they're a little blue electronic device on top of a pole. Those are for in-ear monitors. So you plug your headphones into that, and you have every channel. So there's 16 channels that can monitors, and instead of being played through a speaker on the floor out of those big wedges there, they play in your ears. And so then you can adjust. And if you're like, I don't really care what the drums sound like, I don't need drums, turn the drums down. I need to hear the guitar and the other vocalist so I can stay in tune with what she's doing. Great, turn those up. I don't want to hear the bass because bass is irrelevant. Turn the bass down, that's fine. Bass usually sounds like garbage through headphones anyway. So, just being honest, I'm a bass player, it happens. It sounds like crap. But at the end, they have a long extension for your headphones that needs to be wrapped up. The papers need to all be off the stage. other things. And as the worship team, it would be great if you guys can help us keep that clean too. If you notice somebody not doing it, don't shame them or, come narc them out to me. Go grab them and be like, hey, we got to clean up. Can you help me? And do it. And there are times where somebody's got to leave or whatever, but we need to do that. We need to take good care of the equipment. We need to not kick Josh's guitar. Try not to drop your microphones. Try not to, step on and yank your cables. If you pull on a cord and it doesn't come, go figure out where it's snagged.
My comments on this, the cleanup isn't just important because it makes the stage look nice and clean. That is the pleasant side effect of it. We need to clean up.
Leave it out and it breaks. To be trying to get back to a schedule of once a month, having something where we're not doing or around there, maybe once every 6 weeks, having a worship time in the service that is not a band playing. Like an Axiom, we've got a high school student who plays violin very beautifully, and so what we might do is some have her play like a full-on piece while everybody contemplates scripture or something like that. And so it's a time to reflect and do that kind of thing.
Okay, so
2
getting
minutes ago.
more into worship alternatives. Worship alternatives are awesome. I love them. Worship alternatives can be anything. They can be like you can have a video you can find. What's called Lectio
Divina. It's not a divina. It's Lectio Divina.
Lectio Divina, which means like spoken word scripture. So it's like you just open the Bible.
Divine reading.
Yeah, and you just read the Bible, and it's amazing. Especially, yeah, it's good. Or you can just have like a mass prayer, or it can be in the big church they've done dance. Everyone watches dance, or they watch a video, or they So it's just many forms of worship, and in the past, most of you probably haven't experienced this, but worship alternatives are kind of seen as fallbacks. Like, oh no, one person are worship. They're not. Oh, just because we don't have a guitar, we can't. But,
Right.
So just remember that, and like Brian said, we are going to schedule them about every 2 months or every 6 weeks.
Something like that. Yeah.
And
I want to make them a more regular thing, but help people worship through other means than just the music.
And the expectations of this is that you guys show up, and everyone during the worship thing, there's not as many people on stage, so you guys are all considered the kind of worship leader for that day, like everybody, honestly.
Yeah.
So worship leaders have to show up at whatever time they're asked, because maybe if it's a short worship alternative, you may change the rehearsal time to later. So, just depending.
Yeah. And that one for the worship alternatives, because it's already 8 o'clock and at least one parent is here, I want to make sure that we give people the option to leave if they need to at this point. But with worship alternatives, it's not going to be mandatory that you're part of those. We would love for you to. It does take a certain amount of stage presence and skill to be able to lead through it well in a way that leads people through. If you're stumbling over everything you're saying, it's not really helpful to do that. But we will ask you to participate in things, especially something like Lectio Divina. If you can read aloud, okay, that might be something we ask you to do, because Lectio Divina, like I said, just means divine reading, and that's one of my favorite ways to do an alternative kind of thing. Okay. Sure. So anyway, like I said, not mandatory, that part. So thank you, Monique. We will, we're already scheduled through September, so the first time you'll see your name on the scheduling for worship will be in October, and we will be scheduling that in about 2 to 3 weeks. So that will be that. Before that, I will be asking you to shadow tech to experience all that. Okay? Are your parents here too? Okay.
Yeah, I think all the parents are out.
Oh, perfect. Can you, yeah, if you guys have a person, what?
Really quick, the things that you wear on stage are really, really important. Like, I'm gonna say these pants are not okay. I'm wearing a long shirt, and it's been a long day. But like short shorts, things like that. I mean, guys usually no bro tanks. I know those are really like cool, but for girls, I know I'm like, oh my gosh, look at his muscles. Like so I'm gonna say
don't dress immodestly. Also, don't dress like a homeless person.
Yeah.
Because when someone sees someone in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, they're like, wow, they really don't care.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's not, unless we're doing
So
pajama day,
Don't wear a t-shirt.
don't show up
on stage,
in
please.
pajamas.
Yeah, unless you're a guy, guys.
Guys can wear t-shirts; those are normal. But girls, please do not show
But
up.
try and wear a decent one. Don't wear a tore up shirt. And honestly, I mean, if you can,
Wear like a nice
if you can wear a
Like
nicer,
that t-shirt's nice.
Yes,
yeah, that's a
good
nicer
t-shirt.
looking shirt. So, and I know the super high waisted short shorts are in, girls, but let's try not to do that on stage because then guys don't hear what you're singing. They just see legs and they stop listening.
They actually have a policy up on the big stage. If you're wearing skinny jeans, you have to wear a long shirt that covers your, I don't know what to call it, but this part.
Section.
Yes. So because they're looking up, like the students are looking up at you, and so that's just all awkward. I know that all the guys don't really want to hear this, but
well, no, guys, if you're gonna wear, I mean, like I wear somewhat skinny jeans, but like they're not the like
skin tight.
painted on. Yeah.
So that's really important.
Yeah,
Make sure that your dresses are appropriate for like school.
Yeah, like that.
And like that's okay. And if you have to wear leggings, wear a long shirt. Like I'm wearing this super extremely long
No,
shirt.
if you have to wear leggings, wear shorts or a dress over them.
There we go.
They're not appropriate as pants.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's all. Are everybody else's parents here?
Yeah.
Okay.
For
Answer.
text shadowing,
You'll be for text shadowing. You will need to be here at rehearsal start because you are shadowing the tech person who's setting everything up, and I want you guys to see what goes into that.
I get to rise around 9
Yeah. So, any other questions? If not, let's pray, and the rest of you should get out of here too. Yes.